What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So let's start this video with Ramon. So last year when all of these guys, they did that battle for the Olympia video, we saw that crazy impressive strength of Ramon. I mean, the man was doing those hammer curls with 110-pound dumbbells. And later the man lifted 140-pound dumbbells as well. And that was simply insane. And today he was spotted doing bodyweight pull-ups with just one finger. Whether that is dangerous or not, that's a different topic. But that is some crazy amount of strength right there, considering Ramon weighs above 250 pounds right now, as the man is in his off-season right now. And lifting yourself, especially at the peak of your off-season, that is pretty damn hard. Now this video right here also proves that Ramon is quite athletic, even being at his current size, as this is probably the heaviest the man has ever been. Now we all just saw Ramon looking extremely impressive at this year's Pittsburgh Pro guest posing. Very massive and very lean at the same time. So let's just hope that he makes the weight without losing any of the muscle mass, or more specifically, any of that wow factor, because at this point, that seems to be the biggest problem for Ramon, that he loses so much muscle while making the weight for classic physique. So the thing that we appreciate the most, that is Ramon listened to the critics, he listened to his fans, and the man took action. He was told to put more time into posing and presentation, because in the past, he was unable to display his physique to its full potential, the way it's supposed to be presented. And he was losing quite some ground, especially in the last two shows that he did. The Olympia last year, and the show that he did afterwards. And on top of that, he was kinda off in both those shows. So Ramon looks to be right on the money, right on track for this far out. And he's just focused on one show this time, and that obviously is the Olympia this year. And that is certainly gonna help him bring his very best. So do let me know, what do you guys think? How impressive is Ramon's strength? So last 6 weeks and counting for Nihat, the guy with one of the most impressive build, just at the age of 22. And Patrick Tour has been turning this young man into a complete aesthetic mass monster. So this young guy keeps on getting big, and somehow he's able to maintain a great midsection, a very small waistline, and all of his aesthetics. In fact, his proportions are getting even better. So looking at that 6 weeks out condition, it's safe to say that they are well on their way to present a great winning package at this year's Dubai Pro, and not just collect a big paycheck, but also secure his first pro win and his first ever Olympia qualification. Now it's simply mind-blowing to see Nihat's physique and how he looked like 2 years back when he turned pro, and now the man is so much bigger and better, and that has been one hell of a transformation. And the fact is, this young kid hasn't even made his pro debut yet, and we are already saying that he might be as high as top 2 at the Olympia this year. And it isn't exaggeration at all that we might see two of the Patrick Tour's guys fighting for the top spot at the 212 Olympia this year. The other one, of course, is Keon Pearson. Now I know Keon is still miles ahead of Nihat, but there is no denying the fact that we are looking at a generational type of talent in the form of Nihat, just like Keon Pearson. You do not see that kind of density and that much muscle mass. A guy who is put up together so beautifully, that too at such a young age. You rarely see that. And just for the record, Nihat was second at Dubai Pro last year, behind Angel Calderon. He was able to beat two of the other top 10 Olympians. And the fans at that show, they weren't happy with the results of that show. So kind of seems like we're gonna have a rematch between him and Angel Calderon, as Angel is also gonna compete at this year's New York Pro. So there is just no way he's gonna skip Dubai Pro and miss a chance to win $40,000 in Dubai. So the general sentiment in the entire bodybuilding industry is that Derek Lunsford at the Pittsburgh Pro, he wasn't as good or as impressive as he was at the Arnold, Ohio this year. So here are some great comparisons of Derek from both these shows. So the first impression about Derek at the Pittsburgh Pro is that he looked comparatively fuller. The biggest size difference that is noticeable in his side chest pose. And to be very honest, that actually worked in Derek's favor. In those comparisons with Nick, that side chest shot, that was very close between both these guys. Although Nick won that shot, but Derek looking very big and very wide. That actually did help him to compare very well with Nick. But the fact is he was more drier and more detailed. At the Arnold Ohio this year, the back double biceps, which has always been Derek's biggest strength, his biggest weapon, that sure looked a lot better at the Arnold because of more hamstring and outer leg detail. And the most concerning thing for Derek is that many experts, like Chris Cormier, they gave that shot to Nick Walker, and so did most of the judges at this past Pittsburgh Pro. So Derek has to go back to the same level of shreds and the detail as he had at the Arnold Ohio this year. Now that front double biceps of Derek, that was fuller and bigger, especially up top. And contrary to what many people thought, that his legs were looking a bit downsized. They did not look any smaller than his Arnold Ohio version. Maybe he came in a little too full in the upper half, and that is why it kind of seemed like that his legs are looking downsized. Now that being said, I must say most of us will probably prefer his Arnold look overall, simply because he was more sharper. But competing and winning the Pittsburgh Pro, that will definitely give him and Chris Aceto more data to work with, and to work on bringing a more perfect balance of size and conditioning, top to bottom. Now, I must say Derek kind of dodged a bullet here. Just imagine, had he lost to Nick, he would have lost quite a lot of that momentum going into this year's Miss Olympia. Next up, we have an update from Tim Budesham. So he went through a brutal leg workout and then got his hernia surgery done, which kind of raises a serious question. Why do many of these men's open bodybuilding pros, they have to go through that hernia surgery, especially at that later stage of their careers? So Tim has been competing as a pro for more than 8 years now. So at this point, he's a veteran of the game. Although he has been unable to win his first pro show, and he has been unable to qualify for the Olympia. But that is still a very long span to be competing as a pro. And last year was the best year of his competitive career so far, with multiple top placings. So there is a very simple explanation on why Tim is unable to win shows despite having this ability to get more harder and drier than even the top Olympians. The fact is the sheer mass and the conditioning that can only carry you so far. The shape aspect, that is also of the utmost importance. And unfortunately for Tim, he doesn't have a great V-taper or any kind of X-frame, especially in those front shots. Now, I have no idea whether he can do something to fix that or not, but despite having a structural disadvantage, Tim was able to do exceptionally well at multiple shows last year. 3rd place at Chicago Pro in a superb lineup, 2nd place at Van Pro. So looking forward to him getting back on the stage later this year. The amount of muscle mass Hassan Mustafa holds, if he gets peeled and ripped enough, that man is gonna be so dangerous in some of these upcoming shows in the month of July. So no nickname suits him better than the Egyptian tank, as the guy is absolutely massive and built like a unit. And his past record, that has shown us that whenever he got shredded, he won shows and he qualified for the Olympia. So last year Hassan Mustafa had the most terrible run as a competitor, from pushing Ian Valier at Toronto Pro, a top 7 Olympian in 2023, and presenting one of the best looks of his entire career, and then not even being able to place in the first call-out at all of these Olympia qualifiers, and that too with kind of a weaker lineups. That was pretty bad. He was so off that no amount of muscularity that is gonna help you win shows if the condition isn't there. So what's different for Hassan this year? Well, he stayed relatively lean, even during the off-season phase, and the man started his prep for this year very early, to be ready on time. Now we still do not have any clue on who's coaching him for this year, for this season, because Hassan is known to be one of the most difficult athletes to peak right, to peak 100%. Chad Nichols did a great job with him back in 2023, and so did AJ Sims back in 2022. And if we talk about Hassan's best condition to date, that was with AJ Sims, aka Cement Factory. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.